Hello, and welcome back to Hoi 4, Equestria War, the Covenant, under Hiram Zaranid. And I just had a bit of a scare. The game would not let me load my save, and I tried like 4 or 5 times, and I had to restart my computer, and then it was like, okay, now that you've restarted your whole computer, we'll let you load your save. And I was so annoyed because it was like, am I about to have to restart this playthrough and play back to where I was and go through 3 Civil Wars again? But no. And thank goodness, because I like this so far, and I didn't want to play 3 Civil Wars to get back to it. Hear me. Rejoice, O spirits of equanimity. You have the privilege of being saved by the great Starfather. Gathered together in the ruined streets of Colthage were thousands of prisoners of all ages. Though they had not resisted the advances of equines of silver, they had committed a lesser sin, apathy. These Zeepers were not sufficiently moved by the words of the Starfather, instead choosing to continue their daily lives if nothing had changed. Such a choice was justly rewarded, as the equines of silver had paraded them from their homes with no regard for the sick or elderly. Now they were forced to stand still, as the equine of gold repeated the mantra that they had heard several times in recent history. While you are not servants of Zalmar, your souls have been corrupted by its influence. Fortunately, this corruption is only slight. Today you will be granted the opportunity to cleanse yourself so that you may wield your fragment of the Godhead with pride. Only through virtuous labor can you accomplish this, and so here you will be placed under the careful watch of those most worthy to teach you this task. The equine of gold stood back, allowing several equines of silver to come forth, who themselves were followed by even more equines of bronze and iron. The prisoners were divided equally amongst the equines of bronze and iron, again with no regard for families or ability to perform hard labor. A few had resisted, but their rebellious acts were quickly cut short by the equines of silver standing guard. Those who could not perform the work were also shot. Over time, the architecture of Colthage was restored, though in a Baroque style, as was demanded by the equines of bronze and iron. Very few traces of the original city remained in the end, for it had been reborn in an image worthy to house the Starfather's children. The building blocks of a new dawn. Refugilate the will of Zelmar. We have established the total control of the Colthaginian lands and vanquished the vile crypto-avians that occupied them. We can now proceed with our greater plan. The Republic of Equestria declared war on them. Cool. You guys were defeated by Griffinstone. That's not the side I expected to be the winner of that. I kind of read through it like, whatever, that's expected. But no, that's not expected. Griffinstone's expanding, guys. The kingdom of Griffinstone expands. Good job, Grandpa Gruff. Good job. Carthan devastated after recent war. What is that? Border. Borders always suck. The Ascendancy. Throughout the former territories of the Colthaginian Republic, there was silence. The cities were once played host to many a battle are now still, while the roads between them are no longer suffer banditry of the unfaithful. There was not a single avian or crypto-avian left. Now only equines remain, and many of them had already adopted the righteous path led forward by the Starfather. There are, of course, a few who have had difficulty accepting the wisdom of the equine of gold, though in time every stallion, mare, and foal within our land shall know of the purity of the Godhead. By the will of our divine teachers, the borders have been closed and all trade has been turned away. Missives have been sent throughout the land to inform the equines of gold of the next steps to be taken in our holy journey. With the rapturous joy, the equines of gold proclaimed the former name of our nation, the ascendancy of zebra kind. The celebrations were held in every city as our place in the world was finally cemented. The outside world was less celebratory. As many nations and creatures of every kind have expressed untold horror at our existence. It matters little, though. They do not understand the spirit of equity that flows through us. We shall teach them of this gospel through fire if necessary. All will accept the Godhead for its undeniable truth. For we are the ascendancy, and none shall stand against us. A new focus tree will be loaded, and the gates of Sterling will explore. Zalmar shall tremble in our wake. Woo! Okay. This is big. Geesh, yeah, this is a lot. Let's see. Wow, that's a lot of recruited population, but a big recruitable population factor minus. That's odd. Just up, down. Sure. Okay, so that's just military stuff. This, I'm assuming, from the strength of bronze iron, is probably, alright, it works on famine. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, more industrial stuff. And then over here we have, we can increase influence of different sides. Oh. I do have a description of them. I'll check out that in a moment then. And then, so this is more of like a political path. Alright. So economic, political, military. So actually, fairly expected paths. Despite it all. Okay. No. Though the ascendancy is united in this goal of transcendence, the methods of how to obtain it are subject of speculation debate throughout the upper ranks of the equines of gold. Recent times, two schools of political policies have formed. One school of thought is that of the Zumanites, a group of artists and poets led by the architects of works of beauty, known as Jezazel Zalatites. This faction originates from an ancient Colthaginian artist, Zuman, who is said to be among the most influential artists in all of Colthage. His works have inspired countless others to take up the brush. The other school of thought is the Undites, who are primarily scholars, scientists, and archivists, led by the conductor of the Choir of Knowledge, known as Arved Zimratid. This faction originates from an old philosopher by the name of Umunda, who himself was an advisor to famous Queen Sido back during the founding of Colthage. Both of these factions vie for power, and so whoever gains more influence will surely decide the future of its ascendancy. Guess I'll figure out who I'm going to be choosing later, because I think I'm going to start with this left path. The strength of bronze and iron. The equines of bronze and iron are the foundation of our covenant. Without them, our work is thwart. The plans of Zalmar would be for naught. With the help of the most prestigious members of the bronze and iron caste, as well as equine of gold economists, we can form a new economic philosophy for the ascendancy. Woo! Let's go. You guys are cheap. Whoa, that's a big section. Transcendental economics. Much like everything else within the ascendancy, the economy is seen as yet another tool that must be cleansed from avian influence and made into a weapon of equine purity, which shall serve as a foundation upon which all equine states shall build upon. However, it should be noted that due to the sheer diversity of the Covenant's leadership, the form this new model economy shall take is still a matter of intense debate. The first amongst these factions are the Zinskaites, led by the Trotkian equine pologist Quarname Sikarbalind. This faction takes their name from the infamous Zeblu prophet Zinske, whom ordained that Compolatism and all its influence must be actively fought against, lest the Zablu are to be destroyed. Thus the Zinkaites creature returned to the Arcadian lifestyle of the original zebras, traditional guild-based production, the downsizing of urban areas, and most importantly, all the militarization of every aspect of society. Their chief rival is the Zidonite faction, headed by the famed Zurite mathematician Ziza Zalatit. Their name is a homage to the legendary founder of Colthage, Queen Zido, under whom the city began its meteoric rise to the forefront of Zonican policies. As the name suggests, the faction is primarily based upon the principles of urban modernization, reinforcing the ascendancy's already existing caste system and maximizing the country's industrial and economic output. Setting the economic policy of the state is irreversible. Will unlock additional economic projects in the state based upon this selected policy. We shall also gain additional benefits. Alright. Well, first, I think just getting rid of this famine sum would be good. The work to restore the... Oh, first, what do I got here? Oh, wow, I get to do this in a lot of places. The work to restore the Godhead cannot be done on an empty stomach, and too many stomachs are empty in Colthage after the war against the crypto-avians. Through the work of the state and the equids of gold and bronze, or bronze and iron, I mean, we can labor to keep the population fed. Woo! Feeding people, yeah! Food is good. I like food. Food tastes good. I want a military advice. I want to start getting some army experience first before I deal with all this. And Chief, let me just get this a little earlier by doing it this way. The meritocracy of virtue. All equines born into a caste system shall remain within that caste for their entire lives. Thus is the will of the Starfather. However, through a system of exams on our moral truth and skills in their field, they may advance within their caste to greater heights in service of our sacred mission. So there's kind of like caste within caste, and you can't raise through the caste, but you can raise within the caste, basically. That makes sense to anyone? No? Me either. I think I'm actually going to go with the Zidonites economic. Now I'm going to go with you. And I'll start with the capital. So let's see. Complete this focus will provide us with So we're gonna go with Zyadite. So do we want minus 10% monthly population, but some bonuses to civilian research and consumer goods? Or do we want monthly population minus, but increase in max factories and estate, construction speed, and production growth? Now, one thing I'm noticing is this sure influenced the other side. So yeah, I probably don't want to do that. But that can only be gotten if you go there, while this can be gotten by either side. So it does make this a little better, especially if you're going for that side. But I think I'm going to go with this. Our industrial and military capacity comes overwhelmingly from our city centers on the coast. If we are able to further our domain's development, we must prioritize resources to those crucial regions. Oh, let's build up there as well. That sounds good. And now we're gonna continue doing that in other places. Hopefully they don't, like, rebel against the system and try to murder me when I give the other side more influence. That would be annoying. It happens in some nations, so it's kind of like a, hopefully not, sort of thing. Nature must be nourished. This mortal plane, the prison of all equines, was created from the magical power of the Godhead. So while it is our jail, we must still make use of the great bounties it offers us, through both natural beauty and economic potential. There we go. And we can get trucks. Woo, trucks! Nice. Even more build up. And that allows us to do more things. Oh, they all just give us events. Exciting. Alright, let's see. So, do we want... We didn't do the grasslands and farms of our nation are the lifeblood of not only army, but of every aspect of society. We must further promote the importance of our agrarian sector, increase our involvement nationwide, and we're not doing. Through our recent endeavors into the promotion of rural nature and natural life, we have found that we must go further to promote the deurbanization of life and to seek a deeper connection with the nature we live in. Now, do we want production efficiently growth, lack of resource frenzy but minus factory, or do we want weekly stability but minus weekly war support, production efficiently growth minus but factory output increase? Let's see. Because we're already gaining plus 0.20, so this will still leave us, or wait, yeah, so this will still leave us at a positive. Sure. I like getting consumer goods minus. I like getting some extra. I like getting weekly stability. Really, the biggest plus to this side is just factory output. Good. More factory output, more good. There. Let's continue urbanizing them. But we're not doing the guilds of old. Across Colthage, there are old production guilds who are willing to work within our new system. They have accepted the words of the Starfather into their souls and are willing to create everything we need to exterminate the avians. With the help of a few equine gold advisors, they shall serve us well. What we are doing, in order to maintain the economic output, we need to destroy the avian menace. Our production must be centralized and placed under control of skilled equines of gold. There is no room for the old ways and the new ascendancy. All aspects of society must be reshaped. Woo! That's our leader. Yeah, that's our leader, alright. And now I think it would be smart to continue dealing with this famine. The conquest of bread. Throughout the history of equinety, we have had a diet of grain and other plant-based foods, and like avians and certain crypto-avians, we have a superior, entirely vegetarian diet that ensures our strength. We must increase the production of our foodstuff to ensure we may make a speedy recovery from the famine resulting from previous struggle with the crypto-avians. And I suppose we'll start with the waterfalls of that. Though in a moment. Yeah. The waterfalls of Tefmane. The waterfalls of Tefmane are well known throughout our country as a beautiful spectacle, but a beautiful spectacle will contribute little to restoring the godhead. Instead of a pleasant sight, we should instead see them as a resource to be utilized to the ascendancy's benefit. As such, we have opened proposals to decide on how best to harness the power of water. We now have two options before us. Those who sit firmly in the Zionsgate camp want to divert the river that feed the falls to create natural reservoirs that can be drawn upon to our agriculture and even serve as small recreational areas for well-deserving equines. Those drawn to Zidonite camp, however, recognize the sheer power of the water moving over these falls and advocate creating a vast system of hydroelectric dams and freshwater fish farms to generate power and food for our people. We will have to settle dispute over the falls for them, but one thing is for certain: the waterfalls of Tefmane will be changed forever to better suit our needs. We don't need fish farms. We just had this discussion with the conquest of bread. We're vegetarians. But electricity does sound good. Let's see. Overwhelming. You have the cast of production. Lessons of the Father, number 14. Many of the old ways of equinety are traps created by Zalmar to trick the pure into improper thought paths. Only the equines of gold are clever enough to parse through this avian corruption and lead the lesser equines to common cause. So it seems like they're having fun. Yeah, I'm gonna go over to you for you. Well, I suppose getting rid of poverty would be nice to do. Do each according to their needs. Across our domain, there are many equines who cannot support themselves over the chaos of the past. In order to serve the great goal of transcendence, they need to be supported by the rest of the ascendancy so they may continue to labor for the Starfather. If the cast of protections, Lessons of the Father, no, that's the one I read. Artistry of Cosmopolitanism. Lessons of the Father, number 26. While the creation of the urban environment is undeniably an act of avian treachery, it is difficult to contest that urban environments are a boon to the industry. It will become necessary to adopt the tactics of the avian to destroy the avian. It is imperative, however, that we do not allow the avian corruption to derail our great work. Thus we will assert the superior nature of equinety and make pure what was once to be our great prison. The verdant jungles of Karaman. The verdant jungles of Karaman. The jungles of Karaman are some of the most dense and lush in Zebrica, and since the dawn of Colthaginian itself, they have been almost impenetrable to civilization. But the will of ascendancy is not to be ignored, and now we have the opportunity to repurpose these jungles to better suit our needs. The only question is how. This is certainly a contentious question, as Korname Sikbalid and Zisa Zalatit have gone back and forth as their factions argue over how to best utilize the Karaman jungles. Skarbelid and the Zingatites want to section off large chunks of the jungle as wildlife preservations and essentially allow them to exist as they are, untamed by civilization. Xalatit and the Zidanites see that the chance to section off portions of the jungles and use them to cultivate various tropical plants that are difficult to grow elsewhere. We certainly not allow the Caraman jungle to proceed as it is, while also trying to bend its flora to our will. So we'll have to choose between the two proposals. Or, yeah, we'll take that. Sure. Why not, right? The Renaissance of Production. Through the rapid changes in our economy, we have permitted the unrestricted expansion of new methods of production, spearheading industrialization to a point never seen before in the Carthage of old. And now we just have a little minor famine, no big deal. The Caraman Reefs of Gibra. One of the things the small island of there is renowned for is its astonishing array of splendid coral reefs. The coral comes in all shapes, sizes, and color, and is home to countless species of aquatic wildlife. Before civil war and the destruction plagued the dead Colthaginian Republic, those who could afford it would travel there to make it a point to stop and visit the reefs. A small tourist industry arose around the island, and though the civil war had shut it down for quite some time, it's just beginning to pick back up. There's an opportunity to invest in the economy and turn this small island into a tool to contribute to the ascendancy for the peace and plenty we bring to its equines. Centered around its reefs, the Zigatites were the first to submit a proposal to us over the fate of the islands, and as we understand it, many of their members have taken vacations there in the past. They want to see the reefs receive official protection from the ascendancy and turn it into one massive natural resort that we'd use for both its propaganda value and its enticing reward for those well-performing equines in the ascendancy. Not to be outdone, the Zidanites immediately submitted a counter-proposal to develop industry there and turn it into something other than a beautiful, if effectively useless, vacation destination. They argue the reefs are already protected enough as is, but the waters and resources of the island could be better used by bringing them to the people rather than bringing the people to them. Both sides have some merit to their proposals, and neither is willing to budge. The vacation sounds pretty nice now. Let's use their plan of action. Now is not the time to rest and stare at fish. Let the Zidanites make something out of the island. What I'm going to do is do that. Do this. Well, let's get that military factory. I could use that. I see. But I think I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.